I've come to visit Clive Easter at his house, and I aim to ask him how he became interested in his passion for church monuments. Hello Clive, could you tell me a little bit about how church monuments became a passion of yours?
An interesting question, Richard. I think the answer actually goes back many years. I can remember when I was very small and living in North London, my mother used to come and meet me from school with my bicycle, and we'd go home via the local cemetery, where it was a fascination of mine to read the inscriptions on headstones. After that it was dormant for quite a long time, until I became introduced via a school friend in the early 1970s to taking rubbings of monumental brasses. I hadn't known what these were up until then, but he showed me what they were, and I realised that I had such a monument in a local parish church in Stoke Fleming. So he came out on one Saturday afternoon, and we took a rubbing, and I was basically hooked, and from then on I read round the subject a little bit, became aware of the Monumental Brass Society, which I was fortunate to be able to join, and my interest then simply took off. I went and bought some equipment, bought a couple of books on the topic, found the Devon brasses and started taking rubbings of those, and then by the mid-1970s, or perhaps even slightly earlier than that, the family holidays were dedicated to me going around parish churches in southern England in particular, taking rubbings of brasses. But of course in doing that it introduced me to other forms of commemorative sculpture and commemorative art in general that I hadn't fully appreciated, and the interest then took off in another direction, insofar as that taking rubbings of monumental brasses was quite a slow process, but then armed with a respectable camera it was very easy to go around parish churches, take photographs of monuments, and move on to the next one. And of course the great thing there is I went to Exeter Cathedral fairly early on, which has a wealth of monuments in it, and photographed the whole lot in a day. Didn't really understand fully what I was doing, but nevertheless I did them all, and then I could see the results and begin to take some interest and study in it. The interests started, as is so often the case with medieval monuments, but I'm no medievalist, and the focus then began slowly to shift forward chronologically to the Renaissance period, and to some extent the early 17th century. But then I didn't really develop much of an interest in the later 17th and early 18th centuries until quite a bit later on.
You undertook a PhD in art history. I'm just wondering how long it took, and what was the title of your PhD?
The title of the PhD is The Church Monuments of Devon and Cornwall between 1660 and 1730, and it was done with the guidance of the Art History Department of Plymouth University. The degree took 6 years to complete. I started in January of 2000 and submitted the thesis in September of 2006 with an award in November of that year. And I was particularly fortunate in that towards the end of the thesis period I was working part-time, so that gave me plenty of opportunity to finish the writing of the PhD, having done all the research in the first couple of years.